Hey everyone, a Complex back with another video, and today we're back to SWTOR, and I thought we would chat about legacies. The legacy system in SWTOR is one that I am a huge fan of, but there is a lot to unpack within it. So today I wanted to walk you through just the different parts of the legacy interface, things that you should know, especially if you are a newer player, things that you might want to consider unlocking right away, things that are just useful to unlock, and kind of what it all means. So let's just dive on into it. So in order to begin your legacy, you need to have one of your characters hit level 10 and also complete the initial planet storyline. And then once you meet both of those requirements, if you either hit Y on your keyboard, or if you go up here to the little person icon and see the last in the drop down, you'll see legacy, and it'll open up your legacy menu and it'll prompt you to, create your legacy. You can pick the name of your legacy and then begin. Now, if you haven't hit these requirements yet, you will just get a screen that pops up that explains the legacy system a little bit to you, and it'll just tell you what the requirements are. Now, something to note is that the legacy is server dependent. So if you're on, let's say, Starforge and then also Darth Malgus, one legacy doesn't carry over into the other unless you spend cartel coin and move your legacy from one server to the other. So if you're going to be playing on multiple servers, that is something to bear in mind. You might either start 2 different legacies or 3 different legacies, or you might just move them using the cartel coin option available to you. So when you open up your legacy menu after you've unlocked your legacy, you'll notice that you have a wide array of things that you can choose from. Up first, you'll see character perks, you'll see reputation, global unlocks, your family tree, and achievements. Now, the family tree is just a really cool addition to the legacy menu, in my opinion. It allows you to interconnect all of your characters together to kind of further that legacy experience, because the whole idea behind a legacy is that all of your characters are interconnected in some way, shape, or form, whether they be allies, siblings, enemies, however it goes, they all kind of are interconnected, and from there you are building and growing your legacy. So when you open up and get to your character perk section in your legacy menu, these perks are for each individual character. They are just character perks like it says. However, you do have global unlocks, which are legacy wide. The character perks are for each individual character, and whatever perks are your favorite, you are going to have to unlock per each of them. Now, each of these perks have their own kind of tree, whether it's the 5 perks across or 2 or even 3, depending on what the perk is. And the cool thing is that each of these perks do stack. So, for instance, the improved exploration, it gives you a 6% XP from exploring. Now, if you get the second rank, it's going to stack, so it's actually 12% and so on and so forth, which is really nice. So you're going to be getting a generous amount of bonus XP from just exploring with this perk. One thing to bear in mind, though, is that each of the perks do require credits, as well as having your legacy at a specific level. The majority of the advancement ones have a max out of legacy at level 10 in order to get it fully ranked. However, the improved renown experience requires you to get your legacy up to level 25 in order to complete that skill tree fully, and you also have to have a max rank character of level 75. Now, if we look over here at the companion section, you will note that there are quite a few different companion perks that you can get. My favorite ones are the Legacy of Altruism as well as the Legacy of Persuasion. Now, the nice thing about these is that if you get them fully ranked, you're going to get an additional 30% influence from the conversation influence that you can get with the companion, whether they like approve, disapprove, greatly approve, and so on and so forth, or from giving gifts. You can get an additional 30% influence for that, which is really nice because it'll help you rank up the influence with your companions all the more quickly, which is going to help you a lot in the long run. If you have any questions or are confused about how the influence system works with companions, I do have a detailed video on that, and I will link it in the description down below if that's something you'd like to check out. Now, there's also something like Legacy of Crafting, Leadership, and there is also the Legacy of Promptness if you're going to have your companions, if you want to speed up how fast it takes you to give them gifts. I, for one, don't use these just because I don't mind waiting the few seconds that it takes to give them gifts. Now, if you kind of scroll down here, you will see that you also have a travel section as well as a convenience section. I don't personally find these useful yet, just because if I want to get my mail or anything like that, I'm just going to quickly hop over to my stronghold or to the nearest area where I can check my mail and just get it that way. But you can also do something like a basic field repair droid, which will provide a basic repair and vendor service if you'd like something like that. There's also personal cargo holds, and that way you can check out what's in your cargo hold at any point and like dump stuff in if you need to. Now, the most useful part for me in the convenience section is something called a field respecialization, which if you open up your proficiency, you can, by getting that perk, abandon any of your proficiencies that you have and switch to a different one. Now, normal costs would apply if you have to pay a cost if you're either preferred or free to play. But this is a great way to kind of check out the different proficiencies on the go and see how they feel. So it's a perk that I would definitely recommend getting. Now in the travel section, you have the improved speeder piloting. This is a perk that you'll probably notice that you'll have gotten at a skill trainer. You can also just rank it up in your legacy if that's something that you'd rather do. You also have the priority transport to particular worlds. I, for one, don't find this really useful just because I can shuttle over at any time with my ship kind of thing. But that is available if that's something that you'd like. Now, moving on to the other section of the global unlocks. This is where a lot of people's favorite convenience perks happen. For instance, so there is something called a emergency fleet pass, which will give you an emergency quick transport to the fleet. And it normally has a pretty big cooldown on it. But as you rank this up, you can actually have that reduced. And there's also the same for the travel time, the quick travel that you can have on any of the worlds. You can have that so that perk has like basically no cooldown on it. From there, rocket boost is a fan favorite. Pretty much everybody's just like, get the rocket boost as quickly as possible. There is also the priority transport for your ship. You can have that cooldown reduced considerably, and that perk is available right here. It'll just give you priority transport to your starship, which I, for one, am a huge fan of. It's come in really handy when I just don't feel like walking back or going to my stronghold and then back to my ship kind of thing. There is ship unlocks. So for instance, you can check your mail on your ship. You can get training dummies. You can get an item modification station. You can get a legacy cargo hold, all this great stuff. So there's a lot of perks within here. And something I definitely would suggest kind of going through and seeing what you want and then knowing what level you might need to get your legacy to for it, and then also how many of the credits you're going to need in order to achieve that. Now, if you're somebody that is collecting datacrons, which I would highly suggest, even though I know I have a lot to still collect, this will let you know which ones you have collected and where and what you still have. So then that way, if you are looking for a particular Datacron, it's easier to find a walkthrough online if you need something like that. Now, the achievement section of your legacy is actually pretty cool. You can see what achievements you've gotten, what achievements you still need to get, and how to get them. Now, there are achievements that grant you cartel coin, and the cartel coin is the premium currency in SWTOR. There are several walkthroughs online that list each of the perks that you will need so that way you can get max cartel coin from them. But for instance, something like the Leaving Hutta, which is just you completed all story missions for the agent on Hutta, you can get 20 cartel coin that way. So you can roll through, look at all of your achievements, and see what you still need to complete. Now, in order to level up your legacy, it's actually quite simple. You just need to play the game. As you play and level all of the characters within your legacy, it will just naturally level up your legacy, because the legacy system will take a percentage of all of the XP that you gain and apply it to your legacy. You are in fact not losing XP. It is just taking a percentage portion of that and kind of applying it to your legacy. So the more that you play, the more that you do, the more that your legacy is going to rank up. You also might have noticed while playing SWTOR that you have something called legacy bound armor. There's a wide variety of armor available to you in the game, and also just items that are legacy bound as opposed to character bound. And what that means is that it's shared across all of your characters within your current legacy, which will make leveling, gearing, and so on and so forth easier in the future. It'll also make doing the whole fashion SWTOR a lot easier too, because I, for one, like to change out the armors a lot, and it's nice having just a few different armors that kind of go across all the different characters that I have. But y'all, that is going to be it from me today. Hopefully this helped if you had any questions on just the legacy system within SWTOR. There is a lot to unpack within it. There are a lot of achievements to look through. There's a lot of different character perks that you can pick up, and there's a lot of the global unlocks to also consider that are just super helpful and convenient to making your experience in SWTOR all the more better. I would highly suggest just playing the game, getting your legacy just ranked up, and then that way you can unlock perks as you need them and also as you just get yourself some credits. But if you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below or find me on Twitch. I do stream SWTOR at least once a week, and I'm always happy to help when and where I can. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and or day, depending on where you are in the world, and I will catch you next time. Bye, guys.